I bought Binos because I think they're a great bang for your buck.
Fool, I just bought Panos!
Yeah, so how are you planning on using those Panos?
On my head!
Yeah, I get that they're on your head, but in what reality are you actually going to need Panos? It must suck being so poor. Yeah, that's original. Nice. Nice, classy.
Make more money!
Right, that's what'll make those things more practical, yeah.
You're too poor, lack of money, transaction denied! I just want to down a monster, gulp a rain, down some bang and play by myself in the dark! And there's nothing you can do about it!
Before we move on, I would like to remind you guys to support us on our website so that I can continue to trash my character and name on YouTube for you. Thank you. Well, that is a piece of me that I probably should never, ever let out of its cage again. But all the humor aside and the funny stuff that we have going on in this video, there's a serious topic here at hand. There's something that I wanted to talk about with all of you, and you probably have already seen. I hope you have noticed that we're talking Panos tonight. You might be wondering, why would I be talking about a unit that's gonna cost you ballpark $40,000? And we got a little bit of flack from videos like the JFB because there's a lot of people that say, hey, this is not realistic. This is not a unit that regular people can purchase and own, operate, run. So why the heck would we even talk about it? And there's several reasons why I want to talk about tech like this. And the biggest is it just simply exists. And while I'm not making this video to try to convince you to buy Panos, and in fact, if you listen to the whole video, I think you might be a little bit surprised by what I'm going to say at the end. This does exist. It's out there. There's people that own these and use these, and there are people that are fortunate enough to be able to afford a unit like this. So our intent here at Arcane is to offer as much information about units like this because we know there's people looking for them. And also, it's fun. It's cool to explore new units. We're very blessed to be able to do that. This video is not about the specs of the PD Pro Qs. We have a video where I dive deep into the specs. Check the link down in the description because I go in depth in that. This is more of an application video, but after this video, check that one out. So when we're looking at what is available in the market and we're trying to decide what should we talk about, some of this, truth be told, is about getting you guys to see who we are and what we're working with. And sometimes we do that by talking about topics like these Panos, something that's edgy, something a little bit out of the norm so that you guys get to see our content. We get to educate you on our rights surrounding this kind of equipment and this kind of gear. And ultimately, I think it's gonna make the community a better place, even if you find yourself saying, hey, I just can't afford a set of Panos. What this video is not going to be is me poor shaming or telling people that you should buy something like this. Because frankly, I don't think that this is necessarily the most practical unit that everybody should be running. One of the key aspects that I think differentiates us from other companies is just the fact that we believe that this gear is equally as protected as something like my sidearm that I have over here. This is all surrounding our Second Amendment rights and our human rights to own firearms and fighting gear to remain free. So that's another important aspect to consider around night vision. Even if you can't afford it, it's important to understand it, understand how it works, understand what's out there, because these are things that could be used against you, and we want to equip people to be formidable against them. So a lot of that comes with this educational aspect. Now, I'm not a Pano nerd. I'm not somebody that says you've got to go out and get Panos. And in fact, my favorite set of Binos is this set of PD Pros. And as we get into this video, you're gonna see that I ran a lot of this video with my PD Pros because frankly, this is my favorite set of Binos that I've ever owned. And it's not nearly as expensive as Panos. And the why behind this video really is, who are Panos for? Who should consider Panos? Should anybody consider Panos? Or if you're looking at dropping 40K, is it better to get a set of binos? Because you could spend a quarter of the amount on something like this. And I think that there's a misconception in this entire world of night vision that just having 4 tubes in your head is going to automatically make you this better shooter or better hunter or better driver or whatever you might be using your night vision for. And what we did tonight is something that was very interesting, and I think that it's something worth diving into. So as we were discussing as a team what we wanted to do with this video, I ultimately landed on this idea that we should run the T-Rex Arms 50 round carbine course of fire, because it has metrics and a bunch of different skill sets surrounding the use of nods and rifles and kit. So that's what we did. There's also a side benefit to this. We partnered up with T-Rex Arms over at our other company, TA Targets, and we supply the redacted D-zone targets that you're gonna see me shooting on the B-roll that'll be playing as I'm talking. So we like those guys over there. We liked partnering up with them with TA Targets. This is a solid course of fire to work a bunch of fundamentals. So what I did is run the PD Pro Binos first. And I had some preconceived notions before we got into this video of what I thought was going to happen, and it happened. Let me explain. So with this course of fire, it starts out with the first drill and the second drill being simply engaging a target and putting 1 round into the head box. The first drill, you start with a low ready. The second variation, you're gonna do a high ready. The third drill is engaging the center target with 1 round, left target 2 rounds, right target 3 rounds, and then coming back to the center with 4. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4 drill. Then we moved on to a 180-degree turn, which has a reload in it. And then we moved into 2 rounds on the head box, adding some movement, and then putting 2 rounds into the other target's head box as well. And then we got into different positions of shooting at further distances. So this is a really well-rounded course of fire that's going to work all of these fundamentals with your rifle on the flat range, a controlled environment where you can learn your night vision and some of the nuances surrounding it. That first drill with the PD Pro, I had a .77. The second drill, I had a .93. So those are respectable times. A ready up style drill into a head box at 5 yards, it's not a super complicated task. When we're adding night vision, it adds some complications. So looking at that, I was happy with those times, and I am more familiar with the PD Pros. On the PD Pro Qs, the Panos, I had a 1.05 and a 1.02 on those particular drills. So I was a little bit slower. And I would attribute that to some of the clunkiness of the larger unit and the fact there's just more stuff going on. It's a little bit harder to get on the gun. But keep in mind, as we're running this particular course of fire, this was the first time I ran this course of fire with the Panos. So this is sort of breaking the ice for me. Moving on to the next drill, which was the 1, 2, 3, 4 drill. On the PD Pro Binos, I had a 4.85 time and a 4.35 time with the Panos. This is really where I started to see the Panos shining through. I can do an awesome time with the PD Pros, the Binos. I can land my hits, they're very comfortable. That is the most used set of Binos that I have. So naturally, I expected to have decent performance with the PD Pros. With the Panos, I did pick up about a half second, and what I would attribute that to is as you are transitioning with Panos, you can see your peripheral, whereas with the Binos, when you're locked in with most standard Binos with about a 40-degree field of view, you're seeing this box right in front of your eyes. You don't see any peripheral at all. You literally just see this like rectangular path. So when you're doing transition drills, you really have to look before you transition your gun. In the daylight, that's not as critical because you have physical peripheral. I can see Josh over here right now with the gimbal. I can see this light over here on my right without actually turning my head. So in the daylight, you have that advantage with your natural eyesight. When we get into night vision in the night, you lose a lot of that unless you're running Panos. So right away, we see a little bit of an advantage with those Panos. When it came to the 180-degree turn, engaging 5 rounds into the left target, doing reload 5 rounds into the right target, the PD Pro Binos, I had a 6.82 and a 6.05 with the Panos. Again, moving, turning, getting on target with those movements, and then even reloading, you can utilize that peripheral vision with the Panoramic night vision. Again, still a respectable time in my opinion, 6.82 with the PD Pro Binos. I'm not unhappy with that at all. Again, that's a time that's fairly consistent with what I've seen before. Now this is where it really starts to get interesting in these drills. We ran a drill where I had to engage 2 rounds into the left target's head box at 10 yards and then run back to 25 yards, 2 rounds into the head box on the right target. So this is more challenging. Now we're shrinking that target size down and adding some distance to that. So it's a challenging set of drills. I found with the PD Pro Binos, my time was a 9.09. With the Panos, I had a 7.4. That is a substantial amount of time. So as you're watching the footage with the PD Pro Binos, you're gonna see that yes, I was able to quickly get my target or my rounds on target. I was able to function just fine with PD Pros, but when you are running and moving with the Panoramic night vision, it is so much more seamless. So think of it this way. When you're shooting with a PVS-14 versus Binos, you've heard us talk about the fact that the Binos give you that better depth perception, the better situational awareness around you. Now add 2 more tubes and they're angled out and you have a total of 104 degrees of your field of view. It's craziness. It just makes turning your head and running into the darkness that much easier. So when we see that I shaved off nearly 2 seconds on that particular drill with the Panos, that is a substantial amount of time, and when you watch that footage, you can tell that it's a more natural movement with the Panoramic night vision. Again, moving that second to last drill, we did 2 rounds on each target from a left position, sprinted to another position, stopped, and put 2 more rounds on each target. And again, that movement aspect with the Panos is where you're gonna see a huge benefit there. My time with the PD Pro Binos was a 12.61 and it was an 11.92 with the Panoramic night vision. So again, looking at these as we're breaking down this data, running the PD Pro Binos are perfectly fine. They work great. And it's not necessarily even just the PD Pro Binos. I mean, you can run whatever set of Binos you want. However, any set of Binos is gonna still give you really good depth perception. You're gonna be more confident running and making movements. It's just much easier to gauge where you're at, what you're doing, where you need to go. But holy cow, when you shave off again about another second on a drill, that's pretty substantial when we're talking about just performance on the flat range. The last drill was the one that I was very excited about. This is a drill I've done a bunch with the PD Pros. You start out at 25 yards, and as you move forward from 25 to 5 yards, you have that window of time where you have to put 4 rounds onto each target. Now I ended up on my runs accidentally putting 5 rounds on each target, so you're seeing that in the B-roll. But that is a great drill that's working shooting on the move. It's working transitions in there, the recoil management and all of that. Now you add darkness, extra weight on your head, and night vision, and you are limiting your peripheral with those Binos. My time was a 6.68 on that particular drill. With the Panoramic night vision, I had a 5.99. And again, I'll just reiterate with the Panos, the big advantage that I saw in a drill like that is I'm just more aware of the surrounding areas. I can see more stuff. That's data coming into my brain, into my eyeballs, so I can make decisions and move more seamlessly. Especially as we're shooting on the move, just being able to see the target that I'm about to transition to and track that red dot onto those targets is much more seamless with the Panoramic night vision. Now, I said I had some preconceived notions about this, and this is what's super interesting to me because I'm trying to help some of you answer a question. I know there's people saying, is there actually a benefit to the Panos over Binos in a situation like this? And we'll talk a little bit in depth at the end of this video, but I want to go over the hit factors on these 2 runs. So with the PD Pro Binos, I had total points of 228 points. My total time of shooting was 41.75 seconds. So if you take the points divided by the time, you get your hit factor. I had a 5.46 hit factor with the PD Pro Binos. Very good times, very good hits. I didn't have any misses there, no deltas on that run. I was very happy with that time. A 5.46 in the daylight to me for my baseline performance, it's really good. That's something that I'm very happy about. So the question is, did the Panos give me a huge edge? Were they that much better that I was able to get a better hit factor? Let's talk about that a little bit. My total points were 210, so I had less points with the Panoramic night vision than the PD Pro Binos. However, my total time was 37.78 seconds for the entire amount of time I was shooting. That's 3.97 seconds faster than the PD Pro Binos. So let's explain what that data means. So that hit factor is your total points divided by your time, and it's essentially giving you how many points are you scoring per second. And that hit factor is a great way to sort of average out your speed and your accuracy. That's important. We don't just want to shoot fast. We want to put rounds where we need to put rounds. But we want to be able to do that at a baseline at a very fast speed. So obviously having a fast speed with good accuracy and precision is what you should be shooting for. So on the Panoramic night vision, I had a 5.56 hit factor. So again, the Binos was a 5.46. The Panoramic night vision, even though I had less points, I shot so much faster to get those points, my hit factor was a little bit higher. But the question is, how much does that matter? So before I ever even set foot out on the range, I already had convinced myself that the Panos are not going to give me this humongous advantage. And as we just saw from the hit factors, that's pretty much what that spells out. But there's more information to be had there. But I started to confirm some of those preconceived notions that I already had. So at this point in the video, some of you might be saying, well, holy cow, Jared, you're just kind of crapping on the PD Pros or any Panoramic night vision. I want to be really clear that that's not what I'm doing at all. What I'm doing here is painting this picture that you just simply going out and dropping this kind of money on a set of Panos like this, quad tube night vision, is not going to give you some crazy superpower that is going to ultimately result in tons of skills on the range. It's also not going to automatically give you tons of skills with driving or hiking or doing all this other stuff. But there are some serious advantages to the Panoramic night vision. And I'm going to shoot straight with you guys. If I had more time behind these Panos before coming out on the range today, I would probably walk all over this set of Binos. There is a reality that this is the first time I ran this course of fire with these Panos, and I ran it cold. So of course, I'm not gonna have the performance that I could potentially have with a set of Panos. But that doesn't mean that they're gonna be light years ahead in every single task. And what I don't want people to walk away with in this video is saying, I need to buy Panos, or if I don't have Panos, I'm poor or not cool or not trendy or not capable. I don't want people to think that you need these to be capable in the darkness, because the truth of it is you don't. Having a set of Binos is not a disadvantage. It just is limited in certain areas, and what you have to do to accommodate or work through those things is to train through them. It's to spend time doing simple reps and simple things with these units that ultimately make you more comfortable. For example, you could spend tens of thousands of dollars out on the range training with these things, or you could walk to your vehicle at night and learn how to open your doors and unlock it and get into it, and maybe open your glove box and look around. You could learn how to hike with them. You could pick up something on the road, I don't know, maybe a dead animal and throw it in the woods. I don't know what you do in your free time. You could mow your yard at night. Whatever you want to do, you can do with night vision and get reps in. The reps are so vitally important. But just simply having Panos isn't going to give you those reps. But there are some areas that I really think that Panos are absolutely going to smash a set of Binos if you put those reps in and you have training behind them. So let's talk about those things. So for one, anything involving moving, transitioning, shooting stuff on the move, whatever that might be, Panos are an absolute advantage over a set of Binos. Just the fact that you can see your peripheral is giving you that data to make better decisions and place accurate shots or be able to maneuver better. Driving, for example, if you're driving, having a set of Panos is just gonna give you this full view of your windshield. I mean, you think about the fact that, yes, I drive with my Binos fairly often, hypothetically, not on public roads, of course. I would never do something like that. But if I were to do something like that, I could function perfectly fine with a set of Binos. But again, you've got that 40-degree field of view, which is like looking through a rectangle. So when I want to see something on the side of the road over here, I physically turn my head. And I can't like go googly-eyed and send them different ways. Like I'm stuck to that box, that field of view that these binos have. You're not limited like that with a set of Panos. So again, driving, if you're driving anything, riding a motorcycle, dirt bike, snowmobile, literally mowing your lawn, if you want to drop 35, 40 grand to mow your lawn, it's America, you should be able to do that. But this is an advantage that you're gonna have. So really that advantage that comes into play, I think, is anytime you have movement or you need more data, gathering more data to be able to make decisions. Is this gonna make you more capable as a predator hunter? No, it's actually not. I mean, could there be a situation where they might be handy? Sure, absolutely. Ethan just took them out hunting the other night. But this isn't necessarily the best tool for every job. And I think that the night vision world has sort of created this weird thing around Panos that, like, this is the ultimate flex. This is the thing to come out and say, I've got Panos. And I think that that's sort of unbased. It's not really the best position to be in. Are they cool? Yes. Do they have their place? Yes. Do I like them? I freaking love them. I think they're sweet. I think looking at the stars is amazing. And I'm gonna throw that in as a bonus in the camp of the panoramic night vision. Looking at stars with Panos is insanity. You can see shooting stars through your peripheral. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So there are some distinct advantages to having panoramic night vision, but I don't think that it is the end all be all night vision. I don't think you have to feel bad if this is out of your budget, because frankly, I'm gonna say these are out of like 99.99% of people's budgets. And I also think it would be horrifically reckless of you to go out and get into tons of debt to get into units like this and just make bad decisions to look cool. Ultimately, you buy the gear that's gonna make you more capable, and you train with the gear so you can become more capable, and that is what is most important. I love panoramic night vision. I think that these things have a place. I think if you're blessed enough to be able to own a set of Panos, your mind is going to be blown and you're gonna be entering into a world that very few people are ever even gonna see. And if that's you, we can help you get into a set of Panos. I'd be happy to do that. But if that's not you, we have all the other solutions as well. We're gonna not push people into Panos. We're not pandering for Panos over here. We just want to see people make wise decisions with their money, and we want to be part of that experience for you so you can get out and experience the darkness in a totally different way. So Panos, they're pretty cool. Are they $35,000, $40,000 cool? I think so for the right people, but I think that we should keep our priorities intact. I think you should be realistic about what you need in the darkness. And I think that you should never put yourself in a box thinking that you absolutely have to have these to be functional. But if it is you and you want to rock Panos, that puts you in a different crowd and you're gonna love it. One closing thing that I forgot to mention earlier in the video that I should have mentioned is we have a full video of these bad boys in action. I'm gonna put a link down in the description below, rocking supermotos and dirt bikes, riding around with Panos. You should check that video out, because in that video I go into the specs of the PD Pro Q. I do not go into the specs in this video. Obviously, this is more of a lifestyle video. I don't know, you know, like the Pano kind of thing. We're being pans up in here. Act pans, get hands. See you next time. Hey, Josh, you think Daddy cares that I still have his pans?